Thank you, Pamela. So myself and my colleague Lucy are going to talk to you today about a salt reduction project we undertook. So just to give you a bit of background on the company, so O'Brien Fine Foods is a family-run company established in the year 2000. We have 3 main sites. Timoho in Kildare is our main site, which is the home of Brady's Ham. We also do Tesco, Lidl, Dunn's and MRPI owned products here. This is where the reformulation project happened. We have our white meat site in Green Farm in Westmeath and a new site just outside London. Here we produce raw wholesale products and a small amount of cooked meat products for Lidl and Costco. We are guided by our purpose, which is to bring better quality food to everyone every day through our purpose pillars, which are better sourced, better for you and better made. In the last 22 years, we have grown from 18 colleagues to over 700. We continue to be the market leader and strive to be an award-winning cooked meat supplier across our BRC sites. So why would we reformulate? So the FSAI rolled out a salt reduction programme and we signed up to it. From talking with retailers, we knew there was an eagerness coming from the consumer to reduce salt. We also were aware of the impact salt has on the public, while keenly aware of the significance it holds for us within the food industry. Salt is a key functional ingredient in cooked meats. It helps with flavour, preservation and binding of meat, which is extremely important. Reducing salt will have a strong impact on all of these. The average daily salt intake in Ireland is high, approximately 10 grams in adults. And we know that 90% of the sodium in the diet comes in the form of salt. The WHO recommends that the intake of salt is less than 5 grams per day in adults. For these reasons alone, we decided to reduce salt, and also we know that the impact it has on your health. It is linked with high blood pressure as you get older. It can damage your heart and blood vessels, this could lead to a heart attack or stroke. Even though we are fully aware it will have a strong impact on the production of the product and on the final product also. So what did we do? Our first step was to complete a gap analysis and benchmarking. We decided to select a feedstock with high volume and high salt, something that we could get the biggest impact with. We created a cross-functional team with members from NPD, process, quality, operations and commercial. This team scoped out the project and any resource requirements that were needed. We put a clear timeline and KPIs against the project, and then we presented this back to our senior management team for sign-off. After getting the green light to begin work on this project, we recruited technical graduates to help carry out trials, lab tests and sensory analysis. We also engaged with our ingredient suppliers to take advantage of their years of experience helping with salt reduction. Once trials were completed, we evaluated the results. We repeated the trials to ensure the results and outcomes were consistently achieved. I'm now going to hand you over to my colleague Lucy, who will bring you through the trials, key findings, concerns and considerations for the future.
Thanks, Eimear. Good morning, everybody. I'll start by taking you through the evaluation of our trials, the issues that we encountered and what we did about it. So the first set of photos on the left-hand side is a representation of what good quality deli-style ham looks like. On the right-hand side is a collection of photos displaying the quality issues that we encountered. So this is what poor bind looks like. You've got cracks, you've got holes, you've got paling of the meat, so not very nice. It happens when you don't have enough salt to extract the salt-soluble proteins during the process. So taking out functional ingredients like salt was not straightforward for us. And these photos demonstrate how a small reduction in salt can have a big impact on waste. So on the next slide, this is how just a few points on what was involved in the evaluation of the trials, and very much like our partner in Britvic. So recipes were reviewed by the internal team in terms of taste, texture and appearance. And the challenge was to deliver the same taste, quality and shelf life, and to minimise the waste that we saw in the first photograph. So extra processing was required to compensate for the reduction in salt. This was things like increasing your tumble time or opening up your meat to expose more protein during the process, and it helped to reduce the waste. So once we were happy with the process, to ensure that the food was safe, we ran quite a number of shelf life testing. We also verified our nutritional analysis to make sure that our new recipes met the FSAI guidelines. Finally, we organised meetings with our retailers where we brought our current recipes and our new improved recipes. So most of our improvements were well received. Sometimes we had to go back and rejig a few things back in again, and finally our hard work paid off. So following this, we've moved into specifications and artwork changes. I suppose there's pros and cons to removing salt from meat products. I'll go through the cons first. So reducing salt weakened our ability to bind the meat during cooking, and therefore to compensate on that we needed to lengthen our processing time. So our overall production lead times increased. Our internal whip life was decreased, so that's the holding time from cook to slice, sometimes by up to 40%. So this in turn meant that we had to produce it more often, but we wanted to ensure that the customer maintained their number of days life, so their use by in the fridge wasn't going to change. So because we're producing the product more often, we required more people and more labour. And we found that reducing the salt led to quality issues, and this led to waste because we didn't hit the required standard for our customers. So with all the issues outlined above, it essentially led to a higher cost of production. As challenging as it was, there was a lot of positives around this project. So we've had some great learnings and great process standardizations in our business that have contributed greatly to our portfolio of better for you, healthier, award-winning products that we have on the shelves today. So I'd like to thank the FSAI for pushing us in terms of giving us guidelines to follow, and also to our retailers who came and supported us all the way. So in essence, there was no decline in sales. Our customer complaints, we got no customer complaints on flavour or texture and so on. We maintained our shelf life from slice date, and we didn't have to add any additives to our recipes. In essence, the standard that the customers are used to didn't change. So finally then, there were some concerns and considerations, I suppose, after having been through this project, and namely it would be food safety and sustainability. It's important not to underestimate the cost implications and the waste associated with the reformulations of taking out salt in cooked meat. We also have legislative changes coming down the line for the meat industry, namely nitrate and nitrite reduction. So we have concerns around food safety, potential paling of meat in chill cabinets. So we envisage quite an amount of trialling to ensure that we maintain our food safety and quality standards. So there's a lot of pressure on industry today to make food healthier and more sustainable, and some of the products may not hit our salt targets. Like we have uncured products that have salt only. If we remove that salt further, the product may no longer be viable. So considerations then on what would help for companies to conduct trials and to carry out the high volume of laboratory testing that goes hand in hand with reformulation is more funding. Laboratory testing is necessary, but it's very expensive. So I was very interested in your presentation, Jim. Thank you for that. Enterprise Ireland have been very supportive, and lots of good resources there. So more resources in terms of access to external experts. So I suppose your point on consultancy there was excellent as well, and we're going to dip into that. Sourcing of ingredients has become challenging in recent times. Contingency of supply is important. There should be an onus on ingredient companies to come back to us with solutions. At the moment, it's companies that are reducing the salt, say, and it's the retailers that, we want less salt and we're all working together, but we expect more from the ingredient companies out there to come forward with healthier solutions and replacements for these functional ingredients like salt. Finally, I believe that the focus should move towards maybe portion control and education on eating a healthy, balanced diet to make sure that companies like ourselves remain viable in the future. That's it. Thank you.